Hello everyone, it's SpursRadio96 here, and welcome to the 14th episode of the FIFA 18 Zenit St. Petersburg career mode. We begin today's episode at the Krastovsky Stadium for the first leg of the round of 16 in the Europa League, where we will be facing French side Olympic de Marseille. As you can see there by the Europa League table there, of the knockout table, there are some big fixtures. Real Madrid and Arsenal, Lyonnais, they're all playing. Olympic Lyonnais are all playing in the fixtures, so it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they do as well as what we do. We're up against, Olympic de Marseille, of course, the finalists of the last season's Europa League against Atletico Madrid. Dimitri Payet there, I think have scored 4 Europa League goals and is 10th or 4th in the goal scoring charts, so we have to be wary of him. Some good talent for Marseille, as they very, very strong side, which we have to be aware. The first team, of course, comes in for today's crucial match at home against Olympic de Marseille, and of course we have the advantage. We have, huge crowd behind us, so hopefully they'll be with us behind us to try and get a chance to get a win to take back to the Orange Velodrome Marseille. 20th minute, Druzzi's running like the clappers, and on the counter attack, Kokorin has a chance, and Mandama manages to save it out there. Of course, he was on Crystal Palace for briefly. Druzzi with a chance, it hit the crossbar. Kokorin goes through, and ricochets for Kokorin, and Rigoni I think had a chance, and Mandana had to make another good save with his left leg there. That was a good save there, and that's the end of the first half. Not much to choose between Zenit St. Petersburg and Olympic de Marseille. I think both teams being rather conservative and also kind of wary, pretty much both defensive. And that was the only best chance we had, really, so to speak, and it was 0-0 at half time. We come on to second half highlights in the 49th minute. Glazer, great little layoff for Kokorin for Druzzi. Druzzi's on the attack, he's bringing the defence along with him. Druzzi's going to take a strike, good save from Mandana, and their team and Olympic Marseille survive again. Paredes leaves it to Shatov, and Mandana with another good save on the 56th minute. And he is proving to be the man of the match for Olympic de Marseille. He's made 3 very good saves of that, probably the best of the lot, really. And we have a corner kick approaching 56 minutes. Kuzev with the corner, and they managed to parry it away. Now Rigani's got the ball, and he's going to still go forward and create a chance. Gives it to Shatov. Shatov running round the defence, and Mandana has to make another good save. 2 consecutive saves from the corner kick. And Zenit St. Petersburg really knocking on the door here in the early stages of the second half. Another corner. Rigoni takes it this time. It was Druzzi, and goes over. And he knows the importance of what that could be, what could have been if he could have got it on target. He headed it over the crossbar, and that could have been 1-0 to Zenit St. Petersburg. And he's sure, and everyone else knows it. And there goes the full-time whistle. A disappointing result. I think it will suit Marseille, certainly more than Zenit St. Petersburg. The crowd at least happy that we've given our all. All we can do is try our best, and we certainly did. But Mandana, the Marseille keeper, put on a brilliant performance, making some sensational saves. And Dimitri Payet had a disappointing performance as well. He made some shots and both were off target, didn't create any goals. So in many respects, I think a draw is a fair result, but arguably it will suit Marseille certainly better. It will suit Marseille better than Zenit St. Petersburg. He finished in the first leg 0-0 at the Krastovsky Stadium. We, after that frustrating result and performance, we turn to Russian Premier League action for the meantime, where we will be away against FC Rostov, of course, the reverse fixture. We beat FC Rostov 2-0 at home at the Krastovsky Stadium. I think Alexander Kokorin scoring the 2 goals. In the Russian Premier League, we are still top with 48 points. We have a comfortable lead over Krasnodar, a 5-point lead, I think. Of course, Krasnodar have a game in hand, and Rostov kind of slipping back a little bit there on the fringes, just on the outside reaches of the top 10. And can they become the first team to beat Zenit St. Petersburg in the league and the career mode? We have the best away record in the league, scoring 6 wins, 5 draws, 23 points. CSKA Moscow next up there in second place with 22 points. I think they scored away from home. So the secondary team comes into play for this match. I thought it's best to give the first team a rest. They need to fully concentrate on the Europa League tie second leg against Marseille, so I thought to reserve their energy, let's put on the secondary team for this one and see how we get on. And yeah, hopefully we can come up with a good result. Obviously, at the moment we are unbeatable. We're unbeatable at the moment. We haven't yet to lose in the league. We away from home or at home, so we're doing really well. We've yet to lose in the career mode actually. FC Rostov have a free kick, and there's a chance there. Oh, and Lochkin had to palm it away. It looked like as though he was. It was just going over the crossbar, but Lochkin had to put his left palm to that. I think he was surprised by how it dipped quite quickly, and yeah, he was alert to that one. Now Rostov on the attack. Kaczynski lays it to Doumbia. Now it's Sigrasen. Gives it back to Doumbia. Now back to Kaczynski. Now he's giving it back. They're going forward. Wonderful build-up play. Doumbia. Oh, and Sigrasen has scored. And FC Rostov take the lead. Just up past 15 and a half minutes played, and he celebrates at the camera with his teammates, and we have a shock on the cards here. FC Rostov leads Zenit St. Petersburg by 1-0. Some fantastic one-touch passing. I think it was like 4 to 5 passes, particularly Doumbia, Kaczynski and Sigrasen. And Sigrasen, the number 9, has scored here, and there's a shock on the cards here. Zenit St. Petersburg 1-0 down, away from home again. As you can see, their opposition manager celebrates with the substitutes. We are, of course, bitterly disappointed. And Sigrasen has got his second goal in the Russian Premier League, and it's 1-0 to FC Rostov as it stands. We've been 1-0 down recently away from home against CSKA and Spartak Moscow, so shouldn't be surprised there. And that's a good effort from Assad from out way out the box, a good 30 odd yards away, and it's a good save from the keeper. That was a stinging shot. The keeper palms it away with his left hand there, and there goes the half-time whistle. And so far, it's so good. It's so good for FC Rostov, leading Zenit St. Petersburg 1-0. They had a free kick, and they certainly made use of that with some fantastic one-touch passing to the build-up of Sigrasen's goal. And it's half-time. Look at that. FC Rostov 1, Zenit St. Petersburg 0. Could they be, at long last, the first team to beat us in the Russian Premier League and in the career mode? As you can see by the other results, it's full time, and in one of the games, and FC Tosno drew 2-2 at home against Rubin Kazan. That sounds like an interesting game, and a fun game too. On to the second half highlights, 53rd minute. We're coming forward already like the Clappers to try and get one back. Panyakov gives it to Kranevitter. Kranevitter scores! And Kranevitter has levelled the game for Zenit St. Petersburg on just going past 54 minutes, and the players celebrate. We know, the players know how crucial it was to start the second half on the front foot, and the home fans are very disappointed with that. And a good pass from Panyakov. He held the ball up well for Kranevitter, who was running into the box. Gave it to Kranevitter, and Kranevitter scores again. He's been scoring quite a few goals for the secondary team of recent times. I think that's his 4th goal in the Russian Premier League. I think it's his 4th goal in the Russian Premier League. I think he scored in the Europa League as well. Not sure. I have to double check that. I think he did, yeah. Matthias Kranevitter has 4 goals in the Russian Premier League, and Zenit St. Petersburg a level. And there goes the full-time whistle, and FC Rostov have a point. It's not a defeat, but it is yet another point for Zenit St. Petersburg on the travels. They've picked up a few points away from home, particularly draws. Had a few draws, against some of the Moscow clubs. Well, pretty much nearly all 3 of the Moscow clubs, I think. The players played against Dynamo, CSKA, and Spartak Moscow. And FC Rostov is another one to add to the list of draws away from home. They put on a good shift the second half. Since we scored, it was hard to break them down. It was hard to choose. And I think a point is a fair result. It finished FC Rostov 1, Zenit St. Petersburg 1. And we return to the final game of the episode, which we return to the Europa League second leg action. Europa League second leg of the round 16 stage against Olympic de Marseille. As you can see, some surprises there. Arsenal held against Villarreal. Real Madrid 1-0 down against Hoffenheim. So we're not the only team that's got to make up some ground from after the first fixtures. You can see we're at the Orange Velodrome, with one of the tallest roof structures in Europe. A fantastic roof structure that is really looks nice on the game as well. Players to watch: Dimitri Payet, of course, and Alexandru Kokorin, who of course is one of the most, I'm sure, one of the informed strikers in Europe. I think he's the top scorer in the Europa League. I'm not really sure about that one, but he's of course the top scorer in the Russian Premier League. Absolutely on fire, and no wonder some of the biggest clubs around the world, like Barcelona, Valencia, and AC Milan, who of course are still in the competition. AC Milan are watching over Alexandru Kokorin's phenomenal progress. The first team comes back into play for this crucial tie. Can we win away at the Orange Velodrome and progress to the Europa League quarter-finals? We come on to the second minute, and Gremin, I think he's known as, has got the ball, and is going to go to Lulic, and takes a strike, and it's a penalty. It is a penalty for Olympic de Marseille. The captain, Witzel, was the man responsible, and Witzel can't believe it, and to be honest, at the time, I couldn't believe it either. I didn't think it was a penalty in all thought. Let's have a look. Lulic takes a strike, and just as he makes contact with the ball to thunder it, wide, Witzel just makes contact, steps on his left foot by the looks of it, with his right boot, and it's a penalty to Marseille. I'm still debating if it still is a penalty, I'm not really sure. But very well, Marseille have a chance here. Can Marseille take the lead? They can! And Olympic Marseille lead at the Orange Velodrome past 3 minutes. I think it's Gremin who take the penalty. Gremin has scored, I think, and I believe it is, and the teammates celebrate around, and the fans are in jubilation. That is a huge goal in this Europa League tie, and it's the first goal of the tie as well. Ariola's first penalty for Zenit St. Petersburg. He does not save it. We haven't saved any penalties. I think we've only had 2, of course. One against Spartak Moscow, which they converted, and of course this one against Marseille, which of course they've scored, and we're disappointed, and that could have a huge effect, massive effect on this tie. Velo Gremin's got his 5th goal in the Europa League, and Olympic Marseille lead on the night and lead on aggregate as it stands. Early in this game, they will be going through to the round of 16. Disastrous start for Zenit St. Petersburg. On to the 11th minute. Paredes with a thunder ball, ricochets off the post, and Coquelin puts in the rebound, and Alexandra Coquelin is scoring yet again. And it didn't take long for Zenit St. Petersburg to come back into the game. 12 minutes played, Zenit St. Petersburg level at the Orange Velodrome. The away fans in jubilation, the home fans put into silence. Great strike from Paredes on the right foot, that usual customary thunderbolt on his right foot, almost came in, had a goal there, came off the post, and luckily Cochran was there at the right place at the right time and bundled it into the net on his left foot. And yeah, that is a crucial goal now, and it's made the tie even more interesting now. Coquelin's got his 5th goal in the game, in the Europa League, and it is 1-1 on aggregate and on the night at the Orange Velodrome, and we've got a free kick past 28 minutes. Coquelin's going to take the free kick. Doesn't put thunderball. It gives it to Kuzev. Now gives it to Paredes. Crosses into Witzel. He's done it. The captain scores. He's turned from villain to hero in this game. He was the one who seemed to be at fault for the penalty. He is now the one that has put Zenit St. Petersburg in front. We've come from 1-0 down after 3 or 4 minutes. We're 1-0 down and we lead for the first time. Fantastic build-up play from the set piece. Coquelin to Kuzev and then Regani. Regani did a slight little cross, and Witzel makes contact and volleys it or whatever, I don't know how you call it, scissor kicks it, whatever, onto his right foot, and it goes into the net. And Alex Witzel, the captain, his 3rd goal in the Europa League, and has put Zenit St. Petersburg not ahead in the game. Well, he is ahead in the game, but ahead in the tie as well. And there goes the half-time whistle. Fantastic response from Zenit St. Petersburg after going 1 goal down from a penalty to Olympic Marseille. Very well converted as well from Gremin. And since then, we've come back fighting. We just never seem to give up in this career mode. Half-time in the Europa League, round of 16, second leg, it's Olympic Marseille 1, Zenit St. Petersburg 2, and we lead on aggregate. 79th minute, we're still pushing and driving. Kuzev, wrestling off a defender, gives it to Druzy, and that could be the goal. That could be the killer blow for Olympic Marseille's European ambitions this season. Kuzev wrestling the defender, then manages to pass it to Druzy, who finishes it fantastically on his right foot. And would you believe it, Zenit St. Petersburg extend their lead in the match and on aggregate. It is now 3-1 against Zenit St. Petersburg. Against Olympic de Marseille, Druzy's got his 4th goal in the Europa League. It's 3-1, and that is surely game over for Marseille's European hopes. And there goes the full-time whistle, and Zenit St. Petersburg advanced to the round of 6, to the quarter-finals of the UEFA Europa League. We came from 1-0 down after a difficult penalty. I thought we would collapse pretty much, or Marseille would defend like mad to preserve their 1-0 lead, but they fell apart really. We did some fantastic play. I mean, Paredes did a great shot off the post, and Coquelin managed to put in the rebound. Witzel scored from a fantastic set piece from the team, and then we managed to finish it off with Druzy finishing the game off there. And it's finished 3-1 on aggregate to Zenit St. Petersburg. Fantastic. We're in the quarterfinals. Look at the Russian Premier League table then. We lead with 49 points, 14 wins, 7 draws, still undefeated, 37 goals scored. That's still not the best offensive record in the league. We've conceded 11 goals. That's still the best defensive record in the league. FC Krasnodar are second with 45 points, just 4 points behind, but they have played one more game more than Zenit St. Petersburg. Lokomotiv Moscow are third with 40 points, conceding 16 goals, the second best defence in the league. Then it's Spartak Moscow, who are fourth with 35 points, a points ahead of one of their rivals, CSK Moscow, in fifth. Then a point behind CSK Moscow is Dynamo Moscow in sixth with 33 points. FC Ufa are a comfortable seventh, it seems, with 29 points, a point ahead of FC Tosno on 28 points. Rubik Kazan is ninth, also on 28 points. From 10th to 11th is FC Rostov and Anzi Makanela. 12th is FC Ural on 24 points. They have a 3-point cushion over 13th and 14th place teams Arsenal, Tula and Akhmat Grozny on 21 points. SK Khabarovsky have got 2 wins, 10 draws, 10 defeats, 33 goals conceded. They've got 16 points and 5 points behind Akhmat Grozny. Amkar Perm are catching them up. They're 5 points behind SK Khabarovsky with also 2 wins now. They've got the most defeats, 14 defeats, with 37 goals conceded, the worst defensive record in the league. They're still bottom with 12 points, so Amkar Perm picking up the points rather nicely. So let's take a look at the knockout stage, the quarter-finalists for the Champions League for starters, and look at that. AS Monaco did beat the English Premier League champions Chelsea 3-1, and they're into the quarter-finals. Dutch champions Feyenoord lost 5-2 to German side Borussia Dortmund. Manchester United won 3-1 in aggregate against German side RB Leipzig. Liverpool did beat Juventus, the Italian champions, and will progress through to the quarter-finals. Manchester City beat Atletico Madrid 3-2, and they progressed to the quarter-finals. Sevilla lost, the 3-time Europa League winners, lost 5-2 to the French giants Paris Saint-Germain, or 5-2 on aggregate. Tottenham Hotspur beat Barcelona 3-1. That's remarkable. Unbelievable there. And Bayern Munich thrashed the German champions. Bayern Munich thrashed Portuguese champions Benfica 4-0 on aggregate. And there's some interesting ties. Monaco will face Borussia Dortmund. Here's a big one. Manchester United will face Liverpool in the Champions League quarter-final. I don't think that's ever happened before, so that's going to be some interest. A big game here. Big money spending teams here. Manchester City will play Paris Saint-Germain, and Tottenham Hotspur, conquerors of Barcelona, will face German champions Bayern Munich. So that is going to be a really, really difficult tie there indeed. On to the Europa League quarter-finals, and of course Olympic Lyonnais won 4-1 in aggregate against the Turkish champions Besiktas. Ajax, the 2017 Europa League finalists, are out after losing 2-1 in aggregate to Spanish side Athletic Bilbao. Arsenal won 4-1 on aggregate against Villarreal in the end to progress to the quarterfinals. AC Milan crush the only other Russian team in the competition for ourselves, Lokomotiv Moscow, 4-1 on aggregate. We won, of course, against Marseille 3-1, and we progress to the quarterfinals. Napoli, I suppose, they drew 3-3 on aggregate in the end against French side Bordeaux, but I suppose progressed on aggregate or penalties. Real Madrid won against Hoffenheim 3-1 on aggregate after being 1-0 down in the first leg. And Athletic Bilbao and Hertha Berlin lose 3-2 against Italian side Lazio. On some big ties then. Olympic Lyonnais of France will face Spanish side Athletic Bilbao. This is probably the big one of the tie. Arsenal will face AC Milan, no doubt 2 contenders for this tournament. It's going to be interesting to see which one gets the upper hand in the tie. We will be facing Zenit St. Petersburg, will be facing Italian side Napoli, who of course went out to the Champions League, so that's going to be a difficult task. They've got such a good, fantastic young quality squad. And Real Madrid, no doubt the favourites for this tournament, well, hopefully it should be, they will face the Italian team of SV Lazio, whatever you call it. So yeah, that's the table, don't worry about it, that's just the table. We already know about the table, so there you go. On to the preview for the next episode. Huge game to start with. We will be, it's the second game of the Rossiyski Kobok, where we will be facing away against Arsenal Tula in the Russian Cup quarter-final. So that's going to be a big game, of course. Then we will be away against FC UFA, of course, who have such a strong defensive record in the league at this moment in time. And then we round off the episode with a big home match against Dynamo Moscow, who are competing for a top 4 place. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting episode, that's for sure. And I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Appreciate the support. Like, comment, subscribe, show your friends this series. I'm really happy to bring this content to you. And yeah, I'll keep doing these episodes. The season goes on for Zenit St. Petersburg.